council meeting today is January 21st. The council president has a travel delay, but we do expect him to be here this evening. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Council Reyes, Estelle Reyes. Council Levy.
Present.
Council Selena Reyes. Council Abdu. Present. Council Payano. Council Dela Cruz.
Present.
Council Rodriguez. Council Vice President LaPlante.
Present.
And Council President.
Thank you. Will you please stand for a moment of silence? I also want to take this moment before we have the moment of silence to remember of a city employee that was shot recently and has passed away, Tony Ruiz. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there a motion to accept the minutes?
Second. Second.
Made and it's been seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Public participation, you know the rules, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Who's got the bell, by the way, for that? You got it?
I think Carol's got it. I think we're good.
2.5 minutes, no, don't address the council. First person up is Mr. Mali.
Humayun Mali, 53 Chester Street. Good evening, honorable members. Our city mourns wrongful death of our beloved DPW workers. Gave his life for love of our city. We demand of you and Mayor Rivera take care of our DPW workers. Lawrence Police Department, with the impeccable leadership of Honorable Chief Roy West, has done an excellent job to protect our citizens. Contract for Lawrence police officers now. Amazing display of bravery and sacrifice by our best police officers. We demand of you declare September 13 each year of Day of the Police Appreciation now. We must cry with a broken heart, mourning the sudden death of our precious DPW workers. We demand of you and Mayor Rivera support our DPW worker and their leadership. Our public school, with the impeccable leadership of Honorable Superintendent Cynthia Paris, one of the best superintendents in the history of Lawrence, our public school on the way to become the best public school in the nations. The teachers and the staffs at Robert Frost School and other schools cannot ask the parent and citizen to participate, get involved, but hide behind the slogan, "A school." Strong. Lawrence, always unite. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker is Evelyn Rodriguez.
Good evening and thank you for your time, first and foremost. My name is Evelyn Rodriguez and I work for the Lawrence Methuen Community Coalition as a Drug-Free Communities Coordinator for the City of Lawrence. My focus is on youth leadership development and prevention training for them. I am here tonight to voice out my strong opposition to even considering allowing hookahs within our local establishments. Many representatives from Dana-Farber Institute and our very own Youth in Action voiced their concerns at last week's Board of Health meeting. And on their behalf, I strongly urge all of you very important leaders to model the leadership role you want our future generation to take on for future generations to come, and continue to protect our city's public health and continue to move forward towards a healthy and safe environment for all ages. Thank you.
Thank you. Dick Russell.
councilors, my name's Dick Russell. I reside 34 Cross Street in the city. Those of you know that a little bit about my history know I come from Lynn. I do peruse the Lynn item on occasion. The January 17th issue of the Lynn item had a news item that the city of Lynn, city of Peabody got $2 million from HUD for helping the homeless. Did our application, the city of Lawrence application, get lost in the mail? Oh, my bad. We don't have a homeless problem because nobody will admit to it. At the last council meeting, it was brought up that there was going to be a committee about the charter review, and that was going to be put together. Is there any possibility that private citizens can get in and put their input into this private, the charter review? We don't need to see 3910 rolling over to 3930. And lastly, I may get crucified for saying this. I have issues with people wearing Wi-Fi earpieces in the council chamber during the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Lee Fickenworth.
Lee Peckenworth, 34 Cross Street. On behalf of Lawrence Against Violence, I would like to publicly thank Chief Roy Vask for allowing the command center and many police officers at the candle vigil we had on Friday night. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's the list of individuals who signed up for the city. I will send this information to the clerk for the records. About that, clerk. We are now going to public participation. Document 18319, stop signs at the intersection of Cutler and Emerald/Vandergrift. That was submitted by me. This has come from the Committee on Ordinance Committee. Clerk.
Document 183, 2019, notice is hereby given the City Council will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, January 21st, 2020, in the City Council chambers at 7 p.m. The purpose of said hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning a proposed amendment to the revised ordinances for the City of Lawrence to be further amended by adding section 10-28100 regarding stop signs and location of stop signs. The following paragraphs involving Emerald Avenue, northbound drivers at Emerald Ave at Cutler, and Vandergrift Street, southbound drivers at Vandergrift and Cutler Streets in Lawrence. To the extent there are any existing ordinances to the contrary, they are hereby repealed. The approval of this item will result in creating a four-way stop sign at that intersection of, at the intersection of Emerald Ave, Vandergrift Street, and Cutler Street, all crossing each other at that location. This item was published on January 8th.
Thank you very much. The public hearing is open. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on this matter? Good evening. Your name and address, please, for the record.
My name is Whitney MacDonald. I live at 18 Cutler Street. I approached Mark about this stop sign in this intersection. I am new to the neighborhood. I've been in the city for 2 years, and during that time I myself have almost gotten hit on Cutler Street just mowing my lawn. This year at Trick or Treat, the Halloween, kids walking down the side of the street, kids almost got hit. I had to run out on, into the middle of the road and stop cars because of how fast vehicles were coming down. Cars are passing other cars coming down the road. I just feel that this would ensure a little bit more safety for the kids to be able to come out and play in the neighborhood. There are four houses on the street that have young children, and they have nowhere to be able to play. So that's why I brought this up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on this matter?
My name is Carlos, and she's my neighbor pretty much across from me. And pretty much it's the same issue.
Can you please give your address for the record?
I'm sorry?
Your address, please?
I'm sorry, 2 Emerald Avenue, which is right there, corner house to the proposed stop sign, supposed to be. So, again, I have kids. I got a 6-year-old, a 9, and a 12, and they love to play outside. And we see cars going not the regular speed limit, but way over the limit. And it's very concerning, very frustrating, very makes you angry, makes you want to chase them. This is people that are not from there, people that are from the neighbor and have no respect, not for signs, not for children, not for anything. So if this is going to help, if this is going to do something, that would be great. I mean, this is something we should not wait until something bad happens. Because what's the speed limit citywide? Anyone?
20, is it 25?
30?
20 at school.
On a good day, which is most days, you're gonna see someone doing over 40. That's not acceptable. I mean, I'm sure that none of you would like to see someone doing that kind of speed, and you think you'll have enough time to brake for a kid. I mean, just do the math. How long does it take to stop? And if they're looking at how much they're doing, if it's great for them to be doing 50, 40s, who knows? It's just frustrating. Now, I've been on that neighbor for 10 years. And seeing that getting worse, it's not helping. It's a good neighbor. We try to keep it clean, but they also use it for racing. So, may I bring up that maybe the city should be collecting some revenue from people speeding? I mean, I drive all over the place. I'm a glass installer, so I'm all over the place in any given minute. And this is good money that the city is losing. And by that I mean, give them a ticket, stop them, show them that there is a law, that they should not be disrespected. And if I did it, I screwed up. I would pay for it, and that will teach me for the next time not to do it. But don't just slap them in the hand. We'll continue doing it over and over and over. If you have enough money to have a turbo engine and some racing stuff, I'm sure you have money to pay a ticket, right? That's all. Thank you.
Is there anyone else here who wishes to speak on this matter? Hearing none, the public hearing is closed. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second. A motion to approve. It's been second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, which is adopted. Thank you. The next document is document number 22419, amended zoning, section 2919 C5, permitted uses as shopping centers and car wash, put on by former city councilor Brian DePena. Clerk, please read the foregoing.
Document 224-2019, notice is hereby given the city council will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, January 21st, 2020 in council chambers, 200 Common Street at 7 p.m. The purpose of said hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning a proposed amendment to section 2911B of the Lawrence zoning ordinances as follows: to amend section 2911B of the Lawrence City ordinances by changing 2 uses in the column for planned industrial development I-4, where they are currently say no on the use table, and to allow them by special permit and site plan review. In section B, the uses which will be changed are for car wash and shopping centers. Copies of the zoning amendments referenced in the advertisement were available for viewing, examining, and copying at the Office of Planning and Development, 12 Methuen Street, and the Office of City Clerk during regular business hours, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Copy of this notice and other materials were also available for viewing and posted on the City Council website as published. This item was published on January 7th and January 14th, 2020.
Thank you very much. The public hearing is now open. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on this matter?
Good evening. Tamara Kudelchuk, 18 Yale Street, Chair of the Lawrence Planning Board. I am here. The Lawrence Planning Board and Council approved new zoning as part of the Urban Renewal District earlier this year. We approved three things, and you approved three things: a downtown smart growth overlay on Essex and Mills, on the Essex Street and Mill District, the planned industrial development district for commercial and industrial uses, and revisions to the landscape ordinance. All three of those had extensive public process. They were focused on developing the best uses of land so we get the best jobs for Lawrence residents. In that context, when we at the Planning Board received a proposal to allow car washes and shopping centers and the proposal was for the Smart Growth Overlay District, which was on Essex Street and in the Mill District, we thought that that use was not appropriate to the downtown and was not in line with what the zoning said were the best jobs and best fit for Lawrence. So we voted it down in October, both because we think it was inappropriate to downtown uses and because we think that there are better job generating uses for land in that area. So I wanted to share that with you, and also I'm here with my Planning Board co-member, Brenda Rossi, to ask you to consider voting against it.
Anyone else wish to speak?
Thank you, Councilman. My name is Brian De Peña. I live in 5 Oakland Road. And I came tonight because I need continued support at this amendment for amendment zoning section 2029-19, because I understand this is industrial zone, and I don't know for what reason the city council, I remember I'm the member to the city council, but I don't remember for what reason exactly the city council changed the zoning in the middle to the new owner buy this property. This property is closed for many years. I think it's great opportunity for support the new project in this area, because this area not residential, is industrial. It's the new owner have the exactly project and good project for this area, and that's the reason I'll be here tonight, and I continue to support the amendment to that session. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak?
Councilors, Maggie Superchurch, 90 Nesmith Street, Lawrence. As many of you know, I was a consultant to the Lawrence Redevelopment Authority on the creation of the city's urban renewal plan, which many of you were either a part of creating or voted on, including some of you at this desk and some of you in the chamber. And I wanted to just briefly elaborate on some of the points that Tamara Kudelchuk raised regarding the Planning Board's review of this matter. As many of you know, the planning process itself involved hundreds of people over the course of tens of meetings over several years, a lot of public participation to really think through what the best and highest uses for land in the center of the city could be, including our downtown and the area along the Merrimack Street corridor. As we all know, Lawrence is a small city. There's not a lot of land for development, and we have to be very thoughtful about what we put where to make sure we get the best value, both in terms of the jobs and the wages and in terms of the tax benefit to the city. That plan recommended a number of zoning changes which were approved by the council. And those really reflected the broader goals of the plan, which included a thriving economy, new employment opportunities, and higher paying jobs enabling people to afford better housing and more goods and services in the city. I want to highlight a few points that were made in this plan that I think are relevant to this particular proposal. Some of the job sectors and employment sectors that were highlighted in the plan as opportunities for Lawrence included healthcare, which is a leading growth sector in the city and the county, has a higher than average wage opportunity for Lawrence residents and a good skills match. At the time the plan was completed, the average income, household income in Lawrence was at $48,000 compared to $57,000, for a healthcare job. There was also a premium of 25% on medical office space compared to average office space. So for all of these reasons, healthcare was identified as a sector that needed land and was growing and could provide good jobs with good wages for Lawrence residents. As I said, there are scarce opportunities for large parcels to support those kinds of uses. Food manufacturing and production was also identified as a real opportunity, both in terms of the larger production that it can occur in large lots that need truck access and highway access, but also along Essex Street for our small businesses, for restaurants and others. Access to water and space was also a key opportunity that was identified for this particular sector. Lawrence, as you know, has a particular advantage in terms of its access to water. In contrast, a car wash pays an average wage of $10 per hour for car wash attendants, uses a large amount of land for relatively few jobs, and in some cases creates significant environmental impacts. So I would ask the council to seriously consider if you think this is the best and highest use for the limited land that we have, and I would ask you to respectfully consider the opinions of the many, many, many people who participated over many meetings in formulating this plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else who wishes to speak on this matter? Hearing none, the public hearing is over. Is there a motion by any members of the council?
Motion to table?
Motion made. Is there a second? If there is a second, there's no discussion on the table matter. I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
No. The ayes have it.
Roll call. Is there a no?
I didn't hear a no. Is there a no? I didn't hear a no.
No, I didn't. I'm sorry. I thought I did. Thank you.
Document 27619, handicap parking at 51 Cross Street. Mercedes and Peralta. From the Ordinance Committee. Clerk, would you please read the notice?
276. Right here. Document 276, 2019, notice is hereby given the City Council will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, January 21st, 2020 in City Council chambers at 7 p.m. The purpose of said hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning proposed amendment to the revised ordinances for the City of Lawrence to be further amended by adding the following paragraph to the handicap parking section of the code to be inserted regarding Cross Street, north side from a point 195 feet easterly of the intersection of Cedar Street to a point 215 feet easterly of the intersection of Cedar Street. To the extent there exist ordinances to the contrary, they are hereby repealed in that respect only. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity as published on November 8th.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on this matter? Public hearing is open. Hearing none, the public hearing is closed. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion made, and it has been seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No, the ayes have it. The next document is under communications from mayor, city officials, and city attorney, 2220 Museum Square litigation discussion. I will ask this membership and the author if we could move this to near the end of the meeting. We can take care of the other matters that are here before we have to potentially people leave the room. And if we were to do that, we would come back to it later.
Mr. Vice President, so I will ask the city attorney if we can ask them as far as if that's something he's able to do, because he's the individual that's going to be doing the communication.
Sure. No problem.
No problem with me then.
Is there a motion to table 2220?
So, second.
Second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. New filings of document 2020, a loan order to authorize borrowing of $8 million for the Museum Square parking garage will be sent to the Budget and Finance Committee. Budget and Finance Committee reports, document 39219, creation of a Columbia Gas road paving and reconstruction account of $31,910,000. was sent up by the Budget and Finance Committee. I'll ask the Vice Chair if he could give the report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. By unanimous vote, the Budget and Finance Committee voted with a favorable recommendation to send up 39219, the creation of a Columbia Gas Road and Paving Reconstruction Account in the amount of $31,910,000. Again, we sent that up to the full council with a favorable recommendation. I submit that in the form of a committee report.
Motion's been made, it's been a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Document number 39319, a creation of a Columbia Gas Reserve Account, $3,821,560.26. Brought forward by Mayor Dan Rivera. The Vice Chair Abdu, please.
Mr. Chairman, by unanimous vote, the Budget and Finance Committee voted with a favorable recommendation, item number 39319, the creation of a Columbia Gas Reserve Account in the amount of $3,821,560.26. I submit that in the form of a motion.
Motion has been
Second.
made, and it has been second. I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Document 398A19, Emergency Projects Appropriation, $470,000, sent by Mayor Dan Rivera, Budget and Finance Committee Chair, Vice Chair, Mr. Abdu.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would note that this, it was at this time that this was split into two items, 398A and 398B. For the record, 398B was the purpose to supplement water sewer site improvement account in the amount of $530,000. Item number 598, by unanimous vote, the Budget and Finance Committee voted with a favorable recommendation. Item number 398A19, fund-specific emergency projects, Route 114 pump station, influent pipe, and Oak Street sewer repair in the amount of $470,000. I submit that to you in the form of a motion.
Motion made.
Second.
And has been second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Document number 820, transfer from free cash, Arlington Street parking lot, brought forward by Brian DePainted, DPW Acting Director, Vice Chairman Abdu.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 820. I would note that I believe I disagree with what I'm reading. It says that we voted to withdraw. We did vote to withdraw.
820. 820 and 920 are the same?
Okay, that is right. So it was redundant. My bad. The Budget and Finance Committee voted to withdraw item number 820, transfer from cash, Arlington Street paving lot. Brian Pena, as my colleague, Council Pano, just pointed out, this was a redundant article, and therefore we voted to withdraw. We recommend to the full council withdrawal, and I submit that to you in the form of a motion.
Second.
Second with discussion.
And has a discussion, just for the record, the identical document is the next one, 920.
Okay, that was the question.
Okay.
I didn't hear what was the reason to be withdrawn.
Okay, motion's been made and it's been seconded. No further discussion. I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. This is an identical document, 9-20, appropriation transfer of free cash to the Arlington Street parking lot to DPW, $75,450. Mr. Abdu.
Thank you. My apologies for not being clearer earlier. Item number 920. The Budget and Finance Committee voted by unanimous vote, favorable recommendation of item number 920, the appropriation transfer of free cash for the Arlington Street paving lot to DPW account to be created in the amount of $75,450, and I submit that to you in the form of a motion.
Motion's been made. Second. And it's been seconded. Any discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Document 1020 is an appropriation transfer for underground fuel tanks to DPW. Because of a conflict of interest that I have because of my day job, I'm going to relinquish the gavel to the most senior member of the City Council, which is Councilor Estela Reyes.
appropriation, transfer free cash removal and of underground fuel intent to DPW Special Project Fund, 285,398.95, and that has been put agenda by Mayor Rivera and Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. By unanimous vote, the Budget and Finance Committee voted to recommend passage of 1020 emergency appropriation transfer of free cash in the amount of $285,398.95. And I submit that to you in the form of a motion.
Second.
The motion has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Councilor Reyes. Next document is document 1120, a transfer of free cash to capital improvement pay-go projects. This is a replacement of scoreboards at Veterans Stadium, Veterans Memorial Stadium, for $95,000. Mr. Abdu with the committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. By unanimous vote, the Budget and Finance Committee recommended item number 1120, transfer of free cash to capital improvement pay-go projects, replacement of scoreboards at Veterans Stadium in the amount of $95,000, and I submit that to you in the form of a motion.
Motion has been made and it has been properly seconded. I'll call. Any discussion? Here we now. I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Document 1220, a transfer of the Columbia Gas Reserve account to the capital improvement pay-go projects for vehicle maintenance for $380,000. Mr. Abdi with the report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. By unanimous vote, the Budget and Finance Committee voted to submit to this council by favorable recommendation item number 1320, the transfer of Columbia Gas recovery account to capital improvement pay-go projects for vehicle maintenance in the amount of $105,000, and I submit that to you in the form of a motion.
Motion's been made.
Second.
And it has been seconded. Is there any discussion?
I have a question, Vice Chair.
Stella Cruz?
Isn't it the item 1220 and item 1320 the same? Or are they different?
The committee report, 1220 is different. There's 380,000 in that one. That's for a listing of projects, and Mr. Abdi, you can go to it, but the listing of projects that are inside this memorandum. And then the next one, which is 1320, is an entirely different set of expenditures. That one, the second one, is mostly from the fire department. You may want to, if you want to have Mr. Ryanello is here, and I think Mr. Pena was here. Is he here to maybe answer a question or two regarding the differences of the items?
I think the item that we're on is 1220. That's 380,000, as opposed to the next item is 105,000. So this item is 380,000. I believe this is a transfer for vehicles for the police department. And Chief is here if you have any specific questions about what the vehicle, I believe it's police vehicles. Let me just get my notes out. He can explain what the transfer, what he's going to use the transfer for.
Our notes have 5 cruisers purchased.
Let's see.
Mr. Chairman, I direct your attention to the memo, 5 2020 Ford SUVs with Adamson installation of new equipment on each vehicle.
Yeah, that answers my question.
Okay.
Yes.
And for the sake of
Mr. Abdu?
and for the sake of answering the question fully, 1320 is a one vehicle and trailer complete, and 2 complete rescue boats. So the $105,000 is 1 double stack trailer and 2 complete rescue boats, 1 inflatable, as well as a Ford Super Duty pickup truck to pull it.
Thank you.
Any further discussions or questions on this matter? Just to be clear, this is on the $380,000. This is document 1220. I'll call the question.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Mr. Giannicello. Pianello.
Sir,
Yes.
question? Yep.
Ms. Levy, yes?
Yes, I have a question. It is okay to use the money from the Columbia Gas Reserve account to use it for all this?
Yes, the Columbia Gas Reserve account that we established in item 39319 has $3,821,560.26. So every time we want to use some of that 3.8 million, we have to come back to the council to transfer it to a specific purpose. In this particular case, and it can be used for any purpose. It's not restricted in any way. In this particular case, we're asking for $380,000 from that 3.8 million to be used for replace some police vehicles, and the next item is for some vehicles for the fire department.
So okay, so 1220 is for the use for the fire department, and the other one is for the police department.
1220 is the police
Okay.
department, and 1320 is the fire department.
Is the fire department.
380,000 is going to buy 5 or 7 police vehicles, and the 105,000 is going to buy a couple of trucks and a trailer, or a couple of vehicles and a trailer for fire rescue. Both police and the fire chief are here in case there's any specific questions.
Thank you.
Mr. Piano? Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Thank you to my colleague. Mr. Vice President, I just wanted to ensure, I remember from our discussion at the Budget Committee that with 1220 and 1320, that they were contingent upon the approval of the Columbia Gas Reserve account. I believe the reason that we said this was because technically there is no Columbia Gas Reserve account until the mayor approves it, so I just wanted to make sure that language was there.
So the author of the report, I believe that was discussed at the Budget and Finance Committee. Just want to make sure that part of the motion will include that contingency component. First, the establishment of the account, and then the expenditures of the account.
Yes, so let me restate. I'll restate the motion with that. I want to thank Mr. Piano for the additional language. I did skip over it. So I'll repeat. By unanimous vote, the Budget and Finance Committee voted favorable recommendation in favor of this item, 1220, the transfer of Columbia Gas Reserve account to capital improvement PAYGO projects, vehicle maintenance, in the amount of $380,000, once again, with an amendment that would make sure there is contingency upon the creation of the Columbia Gas Reserve account. I submit that in the form of a motion.
So a clarification of the motion has been provided. There has already been a second for that.
So this would be, so you need an amendment, correct?
I think you've just established that amendment with that reading.
And that amendment would be the contingency upon the creation of a Columbia Gas Reserve account. Correct. I submit that.
Are we all clear on that? Thank you. Are we all clear on the exact motion? If we are, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No, the ayes have it. A related document now is document 1320. This is a transfer of the Columbia Gas Reserve account to capital improvement pay-as-you-go projects. This one is for $105,000. Mr. Abdu.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. By unanimous vote, the Budget and Finance Committee voted favorable recommendation 1320, the transfer of Columbia Gas Reserve account to the capital improvement PAYGO projects, contingent the creation of a Columbia Gas Reserve account in the amount of $105,000. And this represents 1 vehicle, 1 double-stack trailer, and 2 complete rescue boats. I submit that in the form of a motion.
Second.
And second, and just so we're clear, the same contingency component is also included in the amendment?
That was in the line, yes.
Very good. Motion's been made and it has been seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you. Next is the Ordinance Committee. Ordinance Committee reports, the first one is 371A-19, the application of new singular wireless to install small cell facility doing business as AT&T, pole 84 near 270 Ames Street. Ordinance Committee Chair Stella Reyes.
Document 371A-19, it come out with a favor recommendation to me, to order a public hearing, and I make that as a formal motion.
Second.
Motion has been made, it's been seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. 371B-19. Councilor Reyes.
Application of the new singular wireless to install a small cell facility DBA AT&T pole number 16 near 298 South Broadway. It come out with the favor recommendation to order a public hearing, and I make that as a formal motion.
Motion's been made. Is there a second? Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Document number 38019. Dedication to the council outer office in the name of Lillian Michaud, who was our retired city council administrator. This was put on the agenda by me. Just so we're clear, I was informed that we do not need a public hearing on something like this, so we could adopt it this evening if we so choose. Councilor Reyes.
Favor recommendation, and I make that as a formal motion.
Second.
And it has been second. Is there any discussion? I'm going to, Mr. Abdu.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to open my comments by thanking you for submitting this article. I, for one, having served with Lillian for 6 years in a prior term and 2 successive terms, found her to be the utmost professional colleague, enjoyed her company, and she represented the city very well for what I believe was 34 years. And I just want to say that I'm thankful for her service, and I'm thankful to you for submitting this.
Any other comments? I like to relinquish the gavel so I can make a comment to Councilor Reyes. As you know, I'm not supposed to be making comments from the chair, so Councilor Reyes will take the lead of this.
Sit right next to you if you're going to continue passing to me, right? So that way we're going to be saving the trip. Go ahead.
Thank you. So 38 years, Mr. Abdu is pretty close to that. 38 years is an awful long time to serve our city, and someone who has devoted a good portion of her life to making sure that this council ran smoothly and efficiently was Lillian Michaud. She was here when the city council first began incorporated back in, I think it was 1983, and then taken into effect in 86. I think that's the time frame. And she was called a confidential secretary. You could get nothing out of her. If you wanted to find out about what another counselor said or did, she was mum. She kept that confidentiality very tight, and with that came a lot of respect. But she was one of those tireless workers. When you serve for 38 years in doing something like this is a tough city to work in. This is a very difficult place. If you talk to any city employees, there's a few here in the audience right now, this is a very difficult place to manage and to succeed. And those who do it for as long as Lillian Michaud did should be applauded. And it's absolutely right that the office that she sat in for most of her career should be dedicated to her because of the things that she was able to accomplish and making sure that our jobs were done efficiently, and she would do whatever she can to make sure we would do our jobs as best that we can. I remember meeting her back in 1998, which is, I think, 3 decades ago now, as I think back, and how she was so helpful to me when I was a first very, very young counselor trying to figure out what to do here, and she was always someone that I could talk to and someone who gave me wise counsel and information, and always made me feel at ease. And when you get that kind of support, it makes us doing our job here so much easier. So I would encourage all of us to do this. I have not talked to Lillian Michaud about this, but now this is a very public setting. But I do expect us to do something, and I will be talking with Council President about perhaps a plaque or some sort that we can put over there, and maybe some sort of ceremony to signify what she has meant to the city and to the city council. So thank you very much, Chairman Reyes.
So now I'm going to be passing to you because I do want to comment on behalf.
Thank you.
I think it's only fair to say how thankful we were when she was our secretary. It was a person that you can rely all the time. It was a person who you call, and even at the day that she wasn't working, she would answer for you. And if she would ever have to come here just to put something together for us to be ready, that was her. Thank you, Councilor LaPlante, for taking your time, because sometimes we do like people, but we don't recognize them. So we waited, which I hated, and I'm going to say this is very loud, until the person passed, and the family have to come and receive whatever award we have, and I don't think it's fair. Thank you for taking the time and putting this, that she going to be able to see, enjoy it, and appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else wishes to speak on this matter? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The next document is document number 38819, pawnbroker license applications. Council Chairwoman Reyes.
388-19, all the paper was in order. It's a renewal. It come out with the favor recommendation, and I make that as a formal motion.
Motion's been made. Second. And it's been seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Document 720, National Grid and Verizon request to locate poles. Council Chair Reyes.
It come out with a favor recommendation to order a public hearing, and I make that as a formal motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. There are no Housing Committee reports. In the Personnel Committee reports, document 320, appointment of Vivian Marble to the LRA, submitted by Mayor Rivera. Chairman of the Personnel Committee, Mr. Abdu.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. The Personnel Committee voted by unanimous vote the recommendation of item number 320, the appointment of Vivian Marble to the Lawrence Redevelopment Authority for a full 3-year term. And I submit that to you in the form of a motion, and I would also note that she is here this evening if you have questions.
There's a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion has been made and it has been seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
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 The ayes have it. Document number 420, appointment of Eddie E. Rosa to the LRA by Mayor Dan Rivera. Mr. Abdu.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Once again, by unanimous vote, the Personnel Committee voted with a favorable recommendation for item number 420, the appointment of Eddie Rosa to the Lawrence Redevelopment Authority. I submit that to you in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and has been seconded. Any discussion?
I would also note that Mr. Rosa is here this evening.
Duly noted that Mr. Rosa is here. If there's no discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Document 520, appointment of Dania Amador Martis to the Lawrence Airport Commission, submitted by Mayor Dan Rivera. Mr. Abdu.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item number 520. Once again, by unanimous vote, the Personnel Committee voted recommend by favorable recommendation to a 3-year term. Item number 520, the appointment of Dania, where are you? Amador Martis to the Lawrence Airport Commission for a full 3-year term, and I submit that to you in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and it has been seconded. Any discussion?
Once again, the candidate is here this evening.
Ms. Amador Martis is here. Duly noted. I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Document 620, appointment of Ernest Portamarsh, to the Lawrence Airport Commission, submitted by Mayor Dan Rivera. Mr. Abdu.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Once again, by unanimous vote, the Personnel Committee voted to recommend item number 620, the appointment of Ernest Kortamash to the Lawrence Airport Commission for a full 3-year term. I would also note, and I submit that to you in the form of a motion.
Motion's been made, and that's been seconded. Discussion. Mr. Abdi, okay, you got the floor because it was your motion.
I would just note that the candidate is here, as is Director Miller.
Very good. Mr. Piano.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. This is for how many year term?
3.
This is for a 3-year term.
That's correct.
That was it?
Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Public Safety Committee reports, document number 39119. It's a fire watch discussion submitted by several of our colleagues. By the way, who's the Public Safety Chair? Mr. Piano.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. So yeah, it's a 39119 fire watch discussion. It was just listed as a committee report. We had a discussion at the committee level, and we sent it over to the full council in case other councilors wanted to ask question as well. I would say that I know the chief is here, so if other members have questions, they'd be able to ask.
Very good. So it's as a motion to accept the committee report?
Yes.
Motion been made to accept the committee report. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
And it's been seconded. Discussion. Any questions? Now's the time for the fire chief here. Okay. Hearing none. What is the motion? Is to
So
commit
motion
this report?
motion to withdraw?
Motion is made to withdraw. Is there a second? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Welcome back, Council President. We are now section number 5, withdrawals. And then we need at the very end, Council President, go back to document number, communications from there at the very end.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to take item 2220 from table matters.
Motion to take document 20 out of table matter has been, yes. Out of table matter has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been properly second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. 2220, it was tabled earlier by Councilor Payano, which is the Museum Square litigation discussion. Executive session is anticipated. Councilor Payano.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I know that the city attorney has some information to share with us regarding the litigation of this matter. So I'd like to make a motion for us to go into executive session.
Motion to go. You have to state the reason as to why you wish to go into executive session.
There's going to be discussion around items that have to do with a current litigation.
So the purpose of going into executive session is for litigation strategy
purposes.
Discussion.
Litigation discussion purposes or discussions of
For litigation strategy.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Yeah, so the reason is we have to state the purpose as to why we go in, and the purpose here will be to be able to create a strategy for litigation. Councilors. Yeah, we will do a roll call, please.
Discussion.
Is there a second for it?
Second.
Discussion.
Been made and properly second. Discussion, Council Vice President.
I don't have a objection to go in executive session, but there may be some general things that the attorney could provide for us that doesn't compromise the case. If there is, I'd like to hear what that is in a public setting. I'm not sure what there is. Maybe there's some general stuff that can be talked about without that, but maybe not. So for you, Mr. President, I will ask the city attorney, is there anything that he can say in a public setting regarding this matter?
Tim Houghton, First Assistant City Attorney. For the record, the only thing I can tell you is the status of the litigation, where nothing much has happened since the last time I appeared here. We have a court hearing next week, which is regarding our motion that we have for dismissal. That's the next agenda item that's happening in the court. There's nothing else that's scheduled at this point. There's nothing else that's happened that I can discuss in open session.
So, through you, Mr. President, so is there anything, so I just heard there's nothing really new that you're going to be able to provide to the council even in an executive session? Is that what I'm understanding?
No,
or is there
no,
just
there's
information?
nothing I can tell you in open session tonight that's happened. I can tell you things in executive session because that's strategy.
Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay. So seeing there's any further questions or comments for the public? Seeing there's none, all those in favor to go into executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I will do a roll call. Mr. Clerk?
Council Reyes.
Yes.
Council Levy.
Yes.
Council Selena Reyes. I gotta get used to that. Councilor Abdu.
Yes.
Council Payano.
Yes.
Council Dela Cruz.
Yes.
Council Vice President. Council President. Former Council President, Vice President Giovanni Rodriguez. I gotta get used to that too. So thank you. And Council Vice President.
Yes, LaPlante.
LaPlante.
Yeah, that's my name.
I'm
Yes.
getting there. And Council President.
Yes, the motion carries. We have now entered into executive session.
If I may, Council President, where this is, when I originally spoke of this, that you have to announce whether you're coming back into session or not. I don't know if you have anything left in your agenda. If not,
Yes, we will be coming back in session.
then you have to announce that you're coming
We will
back
be-
into regular session after.
We will be coming back in session after the executive session is over. So, we have entered into executive session. At this point, I will ask anyone in the audience who's here in the chamber to please exit the chamber. Is there a motion to come out of executive session?
Second?
Motion has been made and it's been properly second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Council
Mr. Clerk,
President.
roll call, please.
Oh, sorry.
Motion to go out of executive session, Council Vice President LaPlante.
Yes.
Council Rodriguez, noted. Council Dela Cruz, noted. Council Payano,
Yes.
Council Abdu,
Yes.
Council Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Council Levy,
Yes.
Council Estela Reyes,
Yes.
and Council President Vasquez.
Yes, the motion carries. Councilor LaPlante.
Council President, thank you very much, and I appreciate the discussion. I think, what I would ask through you is can the city attorney, in very general terms, just talk to us about the two pathways that I think that are available, and obviously no decisions have been made, et cetera, but just talk about the different pathways that this could go, this case could go.
If I may,
What that means.
Mr. President, members of the board. As you know, we're currently involved in litigation. It's in the Superior Court. It's in Middlesex County. It's not located in Essex County because of the location of the owners of Museum Square. Right now, we're in the preliminary stage of litigation. That would be discovery, answering the complaints. We have a motion that's on for next week for a dismissal. That will be heard in the Superior Court. Based on that, we would have a response probably within 14 days. Our other alternative is to engage in Museum Square in discussions to see if there's a possibility of settlement. We can do both at the same time, but my office is endeavoring to keep on top of this. I will be meeting with the other side next week as a result of the motions. But like I said, litigation can be long, it can be short, it really, there's no guarantee. This is on a fast track because of the nature of it, but fast track in the Superior Court doesn't necessarily mean fast like you would want fast. So, I'm always meeting with the owners and the representatives of Museum Square, and I will keep you appraised of anything that happens in that, and we could very well find some common ground.
Thank you. Is there a motion to table?
Second?
Motion has been made and properly second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Okay, we'll go back to withdrawals. We have document 1. Did we do 131? No. Document 13113. Councilors, there's quite a few of these.
Should take it as a block because.
Let's take them as a block, but there's 2 documents that I wish to keep. But then the rest of them, personally, if you take a quick look at them, are there any documents that you wish will remain? If there is, what we can do is we'll exclude those from the block. Otherwise, we'll do as a block for everything.
I have a parliamentary inquiry, Mr. President.
Yes.
There are 2 items on here that deal with the city charter change. These are similar proposals that I will be advocating at the City Charter Commission and as well as to the Ordinance Committee. If these are withdrawn, do I lose my rights to promote those changes that I've addressed in 2 of these items?
My recommendation will be that we withdraw all of it without prejudice.
So I reserve my rights to even if they're identical, to go ahead and offer that in the Ordinance Committee.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. If there's no documents that you wish to exclude, the only 2 that I wish to exclude are 30814 and 30914. Otherwise, I'll just read the numbers for all of the withdrawals to take it as a block. 13113, which is the Bowding and South Bowding World War II Home Historical Marker and Historical Recognition. Document 19914 is a city charter. It says, okay. City charter change proposal. 30614 is Tenants Protection Ordinance. 37414 Landlord and Tenant Rights. Document 1415 Taxi License. 1515 is City of Lawrence Towing Fees and Procedures. 3715 anti-graffiti ordinance, 3815 recycling ordinance by Councilor Vasquez and Councilor Maldonado, former City Council Maldonado. Document 6615 taxi livery, business as tenants in buildings with delinquent property taxes and betterments. Document 31415 is Water and Sewer Department rules and regulations. Document 33615 livery and taxi licenses process. 916 Common Street two-way traffic. Document 1816 parking Woodland Court to be added to the alternate site parking. 3116 is taxi livery license. Document 3216 water and sewer system repairs, construction and improvements. 4016 Short Street one-way. 4116 Saratoga Street one-way. 4216 is Union Street from Mechanic Street to Haverhill Street one-way. 5016 board and commission appointments. 6416 parking Wilman Street alternate parking. 7316 special limit traffic review on Haverhill Street between Saint Mary and Notre Dame. 12216 no parking. 12316 speed limit review, enforcement data and signage. 12416 parking restriction. 12616 stop sign four-way. 13516 is a readoption of the revised zoning ordinance. 14416 sick days for substitute teachers. 20216 stop sign four-way, Prospect and Knox Street. 21216 barbershops and beauty salon closing times. 22216 Lawrence and Maple Street review of traffic conditions. 22416 home rule petition for charter section 9.2. 23416 recall petition process reforms. Document 23616 disclosure by members of the City Council. 24116 taxi fines ordinance. 25916 no parking across 112 and 118 Beacon Ave. 31616 Boswell Street alternate site street parking. 6519 handicap parking at 102 Bailey Street. Document 35119 handicap parking removal. So 6119 is to be deleted and 35119 is also to be deleted on East Haverhill Street. Without prejudice, is there a motion to take all of those documents as a block?
So move.
Motion has been made to take it as a block, to be withdrawn without prejudice. Okay, any discussion? Seeing there's none, all those in favor please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Document 308 and 309, I requested that we exclude them. I know that there's residents that wish to have a discussion on this item. I will resubmit them to the Ordinance Committee for review and recommendation from the Police Department. So 308, 309 going to the Ordinance Committee again. We have old business. 308. A question, Mr. Clerk?
No, the next three items are in committee. They
To be discharged.
discharge of the ordinance committee on first two.
Okay.
No, that is the rule.
Okay. So we should be all set?
Yep, a motion to discharge the ordinance committee as to each one.
Okay. So is there a motion to discharge document 30819 from the Ordinance Committee?
So moved. Second.
Motion has been made and properly second. Any discussion? Seeing there's none, all those in favor please say aye.
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 The ayes have it. Document 30819, Madam Chair, from the Ordinance Committee.
I'll make the motion. So, if it's okay with you, Council President, since I have
Councilor
asked that we
LaPlante.
put this up. There are several items that I have on the Ordinance Committee. This one here is highlighted only because it's the problems that we're facing on Merrimack Street because of the construction is pretty intense. The lack of parking and all the new businesses that are going over there. And we had this before the Ordinance Committee several months ago, and we need to get some sort of response. And I wanted to have an opportunity to really get this thing through, and there were amendments that you may recall that we had on this, allowing for parking on the north side as well as the south side, and reduce the number of spaces. And we have not, from the police department and whoever else the ordinance committee sent it to, have not received any kind of response. And my constituents are waiting and waiting and waiting, and I don't have an answer for them. So out of all the things that I have on the ordinance committee, I picked this one because it's at that level where people are extremely frustrated. So I'm asking if we could move on this item sooner rather than later to get some relief.
Councilor President, I have no problem whatsoever. We did receive a lot of report from Officer Scallon, so I haven't been having any chance to review what he has sent out. It could be one of this. I'm in favor if we have to vote and pending that documentation to order public hearing, so that we can do, that's doable, so that way it's not going back to the ordinance committee, and we're just gonna be killing some time up here.
So if I understand what the council chair is saying, Mr. President, is that the council chair, the chair, ordinance committee chair, is willing to send that information here, leave it here, and then we can take a look at it here rather than having it bounce back and forth. Is that my understanding?
Yeah, I think that's a fair.
And then,
clear, yeah.
and then maybe we can make a motion to order public hearing after that information is taken in.
So you're gonna be number one, Mr. Pavel is gonna be second now, yep.
So let's make a motion. Councilor Reyes.
I'm not sure what that means.
Make a motion to send
To-
correspondence to.
No, we,
You're gonna
that's what I
handle it
said.
yourself?
So I think we have that report back and the bunch of he has sent out. It could be here. So I'm going to confirm. What we can do at this point, if he is agreed with the author, is
let's order the
that
public
we
hearing.
can order public hearing pending
The
pending
documentation.
the documentation from the Office of Scanlon.
So motion has been made.
Second.
It's been second. All those in favor to order the public hearing, please say aye.
Aye.
Pending.
Opposed? Yeah.
Pending, yeah?
Mhm. The ayes have it. We have document 39519. Is there a motion to discharge from the ordinance?
So moved.
Motion has been made.
Second.
It's been second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
If I could address.
Mr. Clerk?
At one point, I think the council may remind, if I may, Council President, that this item would become important to address with the termination of the South Lawrence Branch Library. I received a report today that the branch library is now up and running, its elevators operational with an occupancy permit from Mr. Gary. Even so, the council's order at the last, on October 31st, was to change the location. In those circumstances, emergency, but still stands. My inquiry to the council at this point is, do you wish to continue with the South Lawrence Branch Library as the polling location for F3? If that is your desire and intent, I need to send out notices to those voters beginning tomorrow, or as soon as after you vote. In either way, if the vote of this council is to order it back to the branch library, I would then send notices that the branch library is the polling location to all those voters in F3 to avoid confusion well in advance of the presidential primary. And I'd ask for either a confirmatory vote to keep F3 in the South Lawrence East School or to order it back to the branch library.
I'll yield the floor to the Vice President.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is obviously the area that I represent in District F. My sense is that in the November election, it worked out relatively well, and now people have gone there the first time, which is always the hardest time. So now that they've been there at least once, now they're starting to get used to it. There's a lot of benefits from going to South Lawrence. The parking is there as opposed to trying to find parking on the street. You've got the Catholic Academy, Lawrence Catholic Academy, who's still in and out of school at that time. Meanwhile, at South Lawrence East, there is no school on these election days, so it's a lot easier for people to vote. Never mind the cost savings as well with respect to that. It's also an ancillary benefit, but I would endorse and support keeping it now at the South Lawrence East School for those and other reasons.
I agree. Seeing there's no further questions or comments? Okay. Is there a motion to confirm F3
Motion to approve?
at the South Lawrence East. The motion has been made.
Second.
It's been second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Is there a motion to send notice to the state
So
and the
moved.
vote? The state and the voters.
So moved.
We need to notify the
Second.
state that we're changing, that we're keeping that as a permanent location. So it's two notices. One is to the voters and one is to
the state.
the Secretary of State.
Second.
Okay? Motion has been made and it's been second. No discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you. Document 39919 is the open meeting law complaint. Mr. Clerk.
I believe this is on the table before the council now, and it should be removed from the table and dealt with. I'm informed by the city attorney that he is in contact with the complainant. The complainant is not pursuing the matter, and suggests the council may want to take appropriate action to take it off its agenda.
Motion, is there a motion to withdraw?
So move.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly second. Any discussion? Discussion, Councilor Abdu? Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on, any table matters you wish to take off the table?
No.
Seeing there's none. Moving on, we have new business. Document 1520 is going down to the Ordinance Committee. Document 1620, Ordinance Committee. 1720, Ordinance Committee. 1820, Personnel. 1920, Personnel. 2120, Ordinance Committee. Mr. Chair from the Personnel Committee.
When? The
Monday,
27th?
the 27th?
No. Not for me. What date is that? The 24th? Yes.
Friday the 31st? Okay. Friday. $6:30? Okay. Okay, ordinance. The 28th. Let's go back to personnel. Mr. Clerk, the clock started ticking when? Because if we meet on the 31st, for purposes of publication, no, because we have a meeting on the 4th, February 4th, so it will not make it on the agenda.
January 15th was the receipt. 30 days from now is 22.
Want to do Thursday?
Yeah, so we will not be able to have it on the agenda for the next scheduled meeting of the 4th.
Then at what time will you be here?
He wouldn't be able.
What about Tuesday? You can be here Tuesday?
But are you, I mean, if the three of us are available Monday, we could still move forward with Monday. Yeah. Yeah. So that way.
last Monday of the month, Maria has the neighborhood meeting.
So we'll do Monday. Yeah, because that way we'll be able to have time to post it on the agenda. Yeah, Monday at 7. Monday the 20th. Okay. I'm tired, I'm sleepy, but I'm still like picking up a lot of little things, a lot of small details. Mr. Chair from Budget and Finance.
I have the same potential conflict with DPU on that Wednesday, so I'm gonna see if we can do it on Monday. Can the chair of the personnel explain how long he expects the Monday meeting to be? So maybe we could, can we do it on Monday, Budget and Finance? This is a little odd just because of the DPU thing on Wednesday. Can we do it at 7:30? Budget and Finance, Mr. Piano? Not Friday, Monday. Oh, party. I know how your Fridays are like, you're wide open.
Mr. Vice Chair, I'm like 95% certain that I can. That I can.
That's a pretty good wager.
Right, but I will follow up later this week.
So why don't we do this? Mr. Rodriguez is not here, so let's tentatively place it for the 27th, immediately following the Personnel Committee meeting. Mr. Piano, would it be better earlier or later? If I could talk to my colleague, would 7 o'clock be better?
It's either that I'll be able to or I won't.
Okay. Do we have anything for housing? I don't think there's nothing. Okay, so that's it. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Motion's been made and properly second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Good night, everyone.